Hi, VencoreWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday, March 15th. Quite an interesting weather situation setting up for the latter part of this week and the weekend into the early part of next week. There is a potential for a coastal storm late in the weekend or early next week, and colder air will filter into the region over the latter part of the weekend throughout the weekend as high pressure builds to our north and northwest. That combination of a potential coastal storm at the end of the weekend and the colder air filtering in from the north and northwest over the weekend poses the possibility of some snowfall in the northeastern U.S. by Sunday night or early Monday. We'll, of course, monitor that whole possibility over the next several days. Still several days to go before that potential coastal storm at the end of the weekend. In the short term, we have unsettled weather continuing over the next couple of days, although it'll become increasingly milder. Those temperatures should peak tomorrow afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, perhaps at 70 degrees in parts of the I-95 corridor. Then a cold frontal passage on Thursday begins a downward trend in temperatures that continues right through the weekend and leading up to a potential coastal storm late Sunday, Sunday night, early Monday time frame. Let's start off by looking at the North Atlantic Oscillation Index, where it stands right now, what the forecast is over the next few days. We often take a look at the NAO index and its closely related cousin, the Arctic Oscillation Index, during the winter time. Gives us an idea of potential for cold air outbreaks in the northeast U.S. and it also tells us something about the potential storm track of a system. And in this particular case, the forecast is for the NAO to go negative over the next few days. You see right now this black line represents the current and past readings on the NAO index. The red is the forecast using the GFS model run from last night, and it is trending downward over the next few days. That tends to favor a coastal storm as opposed to an inland storm, an inland runner. Yesterday's video discussion, we talked about the possibility of one low pressure area moving up into the Midwest and then a second one along the East Coast. Well, the forecast of NAO going into negative territory as its closely related cousin, we'll see in a moment, the AO index into negative territory, favors colder air moving into the northeast U.S. and it also favors more of a coastal storm situation rather than an inland runner. What does all that mean? Well, that favors a colder solution with colder air farther to the south and east towards the coastline, and that increases the possibility of some snowfall in portions of the northeast U.S. if indeed this coastal storm materializes. Still several days to go. One other option is that the coastal storm stays too far to the south and east to have any significant impact on the I-95 corridor. Of course, we'll monitor all of this over the next several days. And as mentioned, here is the AO index forecasted to drop into negative territory over the next few days. So the combination of the two, the AO and the NAO, dropping into negative territory over the next few days tends to do two things. It favors the possibility of some high latitude blocking, which pushes in colder air into the northeast U.S., perhaps over the weekend, and it also tends to favor more of a coastal storm scenario rather than an inland runner, which favors a colder solution in the I-95 corridor. Well, let's take a look at a few different computer model forecasts for the weekend potential coastal storm situation. First, we'll look at the operational GFS model run from last night, 0Z. And this is the forecast map for Friday evening. Now we have one cold frontal system pushing into the region on Thursday, and then notice here this indicates right here a secondary cold frontal push by Friday evening. And indeed, high pressure starting to edge into southeastern Canada, colder air filtering into the northeastern U.S. A secondary push of colder air arrives Friday night with the possibility of some scattered showers. Notice the zero line at 850 millibars way down already into the Carolinas. This is in the lower part, a couple thousand feet up in the atmosphere. 850 millibars already, some cold air, and that's all being reinforced Friday night with a secondary cold frontal push according to last night's 0Z GFS model run. Now here's the forecast map for Saturday evening. High pressure up here across southeastern Canada, basically a cold air mass sitting in here in the northeastern U.S., the mid-Atlantic region by Saturday evening. Some moisture down here just to our south and west, and a lot of moisture down across the Gulf of Mexico. Let's now jump ahead another 24 hours to Sunday evening. And here you go, this GFS model run for Sunday evening shows a coastal low, but it's well off the coast. This is a storm that's farther to the east compared to yesterday's GFS model run, and this would produce little, if any, impact here in the I-95 corridor. Don't necessarily believe it. We'll look at a couple other models in the next couple of minutes here, but again, the GFS is now farther to the south and east with any potential coastal low, making it not even a coastal low, but a western Atlantic low come Sunday night. It is cold, though. This is cold air throughout the northeastern part of the country, and anything that falls likely to be in the form of snow in the interior sections, perhaps even into the immediate I-95 corridor. But again, a flatter, weaker, farther to the south and east low pressure system from last night's 0Z GFS model run, but there are reasons to believe that this could change over the next several days. Well, we'll give you two reasons right now why I believe the GFS model run could change over the next few days with more of a coastal storm rather than a western Atlantic storm. One reason is the European ensemble run from last night. This is the forecast map from the European ensemble run at 0Z for Sunday evening, and it has a closer in solution here with this surface low pressure area just off the mid-Atlantic coastline come Sunday evening. Quite an impressive looking. This is again from the European ensemble run for Sunday evening. The GFS was a little bit weaker and a little bit to the east of here. This particular map comes from tropicaltidbits.com, and it does have a reflection of a secondary low pressure area up over the the upper Great Lakes region, but the main low here just off the mid-Atlantic coastline comes Sunday evening. And finally, this is another map from tropicaltidbits.com. This is the Canadian ensemble run from last night's 0Z for Sunday evening. It too has a low pressure area, pretty impressive low pressure system sitting just off the mid-Atlantic coastline come Sunday evening. So the GFS is probably right now the flattest and weakest solution in terms of that potential storm system late Sunday, Sunday night, Monday time frame. The Canadian and European ensemble runs a little bit closer to the coast. We'll of course monitor this situation over the next several days. In the meantime, unsettled weather, chance of shower at any time pretty much over the next couple of days, increasingly mild. The mildest day will be tomorrow, Wednesday, where 70 degrees is possible, especially down across D.C., but also in much of the southeastern part of Pennsylvania. And then a downward trend in temperatures begins later this week, and we'll monitor the possibility of a coastal storm come late Sunday, Sunday night, early Monday time frame. That's it for now. For VencoreWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.